Before we continue into our service, we want to acknowledge that as we come together in joy to celebrate the hidden light that is present everywhere on Shabbat, we're also aware that some of us are coming to this moment with heavy hearts, thinking about loved ones that we've lost, that we're connected to for a yahrzeit or in the Shloshim period. And to you, we say, Hamakom Yenechem Etchem. May the Holy One comfort you, and may you feel the embrace of our virtual community, that even though we are not here in physical space together, we can very much feel everyone's presence and love and support. Please rise if you're able for the Baruch Hu. You may be seated.
God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun. You unfold the heavens with brilliant moving stars and wrap our souls with peace. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam asher b'chol ma'ariv arabim b'chokhma poteach she'arim. Baruch atah Adonai Ma'ariv arabim. Olam chesed yibale, olam chesed yibale, I will
I just want to make a note before we continue the service that right before we started services, Cantor Young was having trouble getting on. Her computer wasn't working. She had to log in on phone, so we don't have the incredible sound and clarity that we usually have. But it's Shabbos, and when things don't work out, Shabbos is still Shabbos. And so it's really upon all of us in your own spaces and rooms to sing out and let the music guide you and take you to that place inside.
Can you tell me, is it better if I just do it without the guitar?
I think you're fine with it.
Okay.
נהדר בקודש, נורתיות אוספת. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורתיות אוספת. With like you, who is like you, who is like you, the Lord, who is like you, who is like you, who's like you, מלכותך רעוה לך בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים ציינו אנו בהם Ga'al Yisrael.
Please skip this one.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדור ולעיתונא ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדור ולעיתונא ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדור ולעיתונא. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדור ולעיתונא וביום השביעי שבת ונחש שבת ונחש שבת ונחש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדור
In a moment, we're going to enter the silent Amidah, and I want us to reflect a little bit on joy. The last few weeks, I've been speaking about love as not a feeling or an emotion that we commonly think about it as. An emotion is something that arises and passes, but love is a deep reality. It's a reality of the connection of all life that's together, that when we're in a space of true love, we're present to this deeper reality. And joy is the same way. A lot of the times we think about joy as a emotion that can come and go, and we seek to try to be happy, to try to have those emotions, but joy is different than pleasure. Pleasure is something that is dependent on the externals, whatever that may be. But I want us to consider that joy is a state of awareness that we can open our eyes and our hearts into, a place where we feel the vibrancy, the aliveness of the creation that we're a part of. The way that, as the Hasidic masters say, that every blade of grass is singing with joy, that everything in nature is singing with joy. And each one of us in our own being, even if our mind's not there, there's a place in our hearts, in our very kishkas, in our very aliveness that is singing with joy, that's singing Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia. May all breath, all soul praise the one. So in a moment, Cantor Young is going to invite us into the Amidah prayer with an invitation for us to let our mouths be expressions of joy, of praise, of the reality that is all around us. And after she leads us in that, we'll have an opportunity to close our eyes. I'm going to invite you, if you're comfortable, to stand. The Amidah means standing or standing prayer. And or you can sit, whatever you're comfortable with. And I'll lead us through a guided Amidah, going through each of the themes of the prayers of the Amidah. And the invitation, as you hear me say each prayer, is to try to make those words your own, in your own hearts, so that it's not just me saying it, but that it's you saying it, and let that connect you to that place of joy.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Teilatecha, Ufi Yagid Teilatecha.
We call on you, source of life, through the lives of our ancestors, to open us to your great loving kindness. Let us be an embodiment of your love. Blessed are you, source of life, who wraps us in the kindness of Abraham and Sarah. You are the great force that animates all life. You sustain the breath in me and allow me to rise from the dust each day. Blessed are you, source of life, who enlivens me to all life. You are the sacred essence that makes all things beautiful. Blessed are you, source of life, the sacred essence. Satisfy us with your goodness. Be content with our rest and our presence on this Shabbat. Purify our hearts so that we can serve you in truth, so that we can be present to the deep reality that we can find in your Shabbat. Blessed are you, source of life, who sanctifies Shabbat. Through our sacred service, we dissolve ourselves in you in loving sacrifice. Blessed are you, source of life, who returns the divine presence to our hearts. We thank you for the gift of our lives and miracles that you unfold every moment of the day. Blessed are you, source of life, who allows us to open in gratitude. Grant us a deep sense of wholeness through a vision of your oneness. May all people in the world open to a profound awareness of peace. Blessed are you, source of life, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael bashalom.
With words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto you, oh God. Be
Shabbat shalom, everyone. We can let the screen share go down. There are some things that seem unattainable to us. Now, we're not talking about grandiose things like becoming a billionaire or a sports star, but little things that allow us to feel competent and effective in the world. Maybe it's believing that we can be successful in math or sports, or maybe it's the belief that we can attain that new position or even get paid for the work that we love. Maybe it's having a friendship with someone we admire or a life partnership with someone who sees the beauty that we are. We don't have to psychoanalyze ourselves to notice that our sense of who we are, all the thoughts, beliefs, and feelings that coalesce around the word I is limiting. I'm not good at this. I will never be recognized for the work I do. I will never be cool or smart enough to be this person's friend. I will never be able to stop this bad habit or addiction. Now, without delving into the sense of why our I is what it is, it seems likely that if our experience of I was not so constricting, If we didn't set ourselves up for failure from the very beginning, we might work harder in the different places in our lives, be bolder in building new relationships at work or our personal lives, or be more persistent in pursuing the work that we love. Some of our rabbis see the Torah as teaching us through a dream world. In a dream, every word or image is not meant to be taken literally, but might reflect some deeper truth about who we are, maybe in a metaphorical way. This week, we see Moses pointing at two mountains in the distance in the land of Israel that they're about to enter. One mountain represents all the blessings that will be showered upon the people, and the other mountain, all the curses. Moses says, Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha uklala. See, I put before you this day a blessing and a curse. There are many ways to interpret this famous line, but tonight we learn from the Baal Shem Tov, the great 18th century Hasidic master. He reads the verse as, see, be aware that your sense of I-ness, your sense of yourself, is what is responsible for whether there is a blessing or a curse. As mentioned before, when each one of us says I, we have layers and layers of identification with roles, personality traits, skills, and morality. For some of us, I is closely connected with the work that we do, as in, I'm an architect. The Hebrew word for I, anochi, is the root of the Hebrew word for ego, anochiut. Not ego as being better than anyone, but ego as in self-identification. Inherently, our ego is not a blessing or a curse. However, much of the time, it is a curse. Earlier in chapter 5, Moses says, I was standing between God and you at that time to relate the word of God to you. The Baal Shem Tov doesn't read this as Moses speaking literally to the people, but the Torah telling us that the ego, I, is what stands between God and us. Whenever our sense of self in any moment makes us small, separates us from other people, or from what we feel called to create in the world, it's a curse. Whenever we notice the thought stream that tells us what is not possible about who we are experiencing the curse. So how do we turn the curse into blessing? Another word for I in Hebrew is ani. And when we permutate the letters, the Hebrew letters of ani, we get ain, which means nothing. And this is a profound truth. Our deeper identity, our soul identity, beyond all the roles and the skills, qualities, personality, is no thing. It is all possibility, all potentiality. Yes, we may have struggled with math or sports or this or that, but with a lot of hard work and practice, we can experience ourselves as competent and effective. Who we really are is a mystery. It is not one thing. When we don't identify so strongly with any one thing, we don't have a picture of reality that limits us from who we can be or how we can connect. When we don't identify so strongly as any one thing, we don't limit ourselves from becoming the greatness that we are. When we identify as ayin, as no thing, instead of ani, I, something we are available to be what God wants us to be in each moment. And that shines a tremendous light. We are able to be a blessing. In this moment, we're going to have the opportunity for us to offer blessings of healing to those people in our lives that are struggling with physical illness or mental illness, addiction, or just spiritual disconnection, feeling lost, trying to find direction. I want to invite you right now to put in the chat, if you'd like, names of people that you would like to invite into our healing circle, and to really know that that in some very mysterious but very concrete way, that our prayers and our love and our wishes will continue to affect those we love in this interconnection we're a part of.
It is up to us to hallow creation, to respond to life with the fullness of our lives. It is up to us to meet the world, to embrace the whole, even as we wrestle with its parts. It is up to us to repair the world and to bind our lives to the Torah, to the truth. Therefore, we bend the knee and shake off the stiffness that keeps us from the subtle graces of life and supple gestures of love. With reverence and thanksgiving, we accept our destiny and set for ourselves the task of redemption. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
We now turn to the mourner's Kaddish, and we're holding in our hearts, in our synagogue family, in the Shloshim, the 30-day period, for Sybil Scheinman, the mother of our member Barbara Scheinman, Zena Phillips, mother of our member Merritt Weiss, Ellis Joseph Seligman, the father of our member Bonnie Weiderman, and Pauline Elaine, mother of our member Jody Helbrick, Michael Richard Rosen, father of our member Neil Rosen. We're also commemorating the following Yartzeit's year-long anniversary: George Brower, Sigmund Brennesel. And I will say, if I've called the name of your loved one, or if I do, please, you can stand in your home in your honor and connection. Marilyn Brightman, Rose Brown, Homer Chernin, Hyman Cohen, Sarah Cohen, Sam Dater, Jacqueline Drexler, Faye Freeman, David Gassner, Jack Luskin, Mickey Goldstein, Dorothea Hallgarten, Charles Harris, Elizabeth Hoffmeyer, Jenny Kaplan, Sophia Katz, Sam Keith, Leonard King, Marion Goldie Levine, Ruth Lipsky, Jean Margolis, Kenny Mucha, Robert Olin, Susan Alhanti Pardo, Erwin Walter Resnick, Jack Rice, Philip Rubin, Dr. Jules Shapiro, Erwin Sherman, Ruth Schulman, Ralph Silverman, and Ann Vishnoff. You may stand or sit according to your custom for Mourner's Kaddish, and you can join me in your own home. Yitzgadal v'yitzgadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'omei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. May their memories be for a blessing.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Want to invite everybody to grab a glass of wine for Kiddush, and want to just alert us as we say Kiddush together that there is two themes, two things for us to remember. Zecher Ma'aseh Bereshit, the remembrance of the working of creation, and Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim, the remembering of the leaving of Egypt. And this is a remembering that isn't something about remembering something back in time, because obviously we weren't around in the Big Bang, the creation of the world. Were we our individual selves there in the leaving of Egypt? Well, these remembering is the reality that is present with us always. The remembering that God is present in the work of creation, that Shabbat allows us to experience that, and that we are able to leave the narrow places, that all of the things that feel constricting to us on a day-to-day basis is not really present in the deepest way. And so those are the kinds of remembering that Kiddush invites us to. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim V'Shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon Himchaltanu Baruch Ata Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. If you have a challah or a bread for hamotzi, feel free to get it out. There we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We all say Amen. So in a moment, we'll stop our custom live.